Je peux expliquer la même chose en français, mais je crois qu'il y a très peu de personnes qui vont me comprendre. También puedo decir esto en español, pero yo no sé si hay mucha gente que habla español en la audiencia aquí. Bueno, я могу это сказать по-русски. Я не знаю, если у вас есть люди, которые говорят по-русски. И сейчас я пытаюсь учиться чешский. Well, I mean, the first thing is, of course, it's tremendously enjoyable to be able to speak many languages, and we live in a world that's so small today that we do come in contact with people who speak different languages, and as I said before, the internet has made it, possible to access movies in different languages and whatever you want. Insofar as funny incidents. One thing is, people sometimes think that if you speak the language, say if I go to China or Japan, that you'll hear something that wasn't intended for you. But I can tell you it very, very seldom happens. Like if you go into an elevator and everyone's talking quickly, you may think they're talking about you. Never. Like if I go into an elevator in Japan or China, people may not know that I understand what they're saying. But they're also not very interested in me either. So you very seldom hear people saying things about you, So that's for sure. Certainly from a business point of view, I would not have been able to build the business that I have, which is largely built around selling lumber into Japan. I could not have created the relationships that I had there, which were very helpful to me, if I hadn't been able to speak Japanese. If we can speak the language, it's just a lot easier. You can go to different places. You don't feel uneasy. You don't feel, if you go to a restaurant and no one speaks English, you don't feel uneasy at all. It's just much more comfortable. So I definitely recommend to people that they should try to learn 2 or 3 languages. And at many times in history, it was considered normal to speak 2, 3, 4 languages. And there are countries in the world, like Singapore, apparently in Ethiopia, they all have to speak 3 or 4 languages. So there are places, I believe our brains are designed to be able to speak many languages. And I think it's unfortunate that English is sort of the dominant international language. Everybody learns English, and that's all they bother with. I think it's much, much better. It's more fun if a Japanese person goes to Korea and can speak Korean, rather than communicating in English with a Korean. I'm a big believer in our ability and the usefulness and the rewards of learning more than one language. If I look at immigrants here, for example, they go to their ESL class, Vancouver Community College, and that's the only thing they do in English, many of them. Then they go home and they watch videos in their own language. You have to shut down your native language to some extent. It's like if you have a strong eye and a weak eye. In order for the weak eye to get stronger, you have to cover the strong eye. So you have to make that commitment in time and effort. And ideally, just listening and reading, doing things that you find pleasant. Now, insofar as speaking is concerned, that if you're talking about break the ice, my strategy is to build up a certain level of confidence, competence, vocabulary. Now you got to speak. And don't worry. Now, it's easier said than done, but the only goal is communicating. People are not judging your language when you're speaking with them. People just want to communicate. Communication is the key. And if you start communicating, you can only get better. You won't get worse. And most of all, enjoy it. Because every time you're speaking in a foreign language, you should feel proud of yourself. Because the majority of people in North America can only speak 1 language. So if you're speaking 2, you're better. So you shouldn't be critical. I see people all the time, they get so negative towards their own ability in the language. And all negative sort of emotions of frustration, they all detract from your ability to learn a language. You have to stay positive.